Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. In the next lecture, we're going to create a free tier Google Cloud Platform account. So in this lecture, I just want to tell you a little bit about how those work. Now, a free trial account in GCP is a billing account that does not get charged. The key thing here is that you need to manually upgrade this for it to become a paying account. Now, this just blows AWS's free tier out of the water because it works so much better for people who are trying to learn the platform. I always get just a little bit concerned when people create an AWS account to learn on, because if they're not careful, they could run up huge charges. But that's not the case with a GCP free trial account. Now, setting up an account like this still does require a credit card for verification, but it won't get charged. When you create a free trial account for GCP, you also get $300 of credit that you can use for up to 12 months. And this is basically what defines your free trial account. If you either use up the $300 or let 12 months go by, then your free trial will be over. But when your free trial ends, your account will be paused and you'll have the option to upgrade to a paid account then, whether this happens in 12 months or sooner because you've run out of credit. Now, it bears repeating, this really is excellent for learning. You can do all sorts of things in this free trial account and really get your hands dirty learning real stuff in GCP. Now, they say that business accounts are not eligible for the free trial, so you want to set this up as your own personal account. And you should be aware that it does have some restrictions. So when you're on the free trial, you're not allowed to have more than 8 virtual CPUs together at once. Now, you could split this up in a number of different ways. Maybe you'd want to run one 8 CPU machine for a while, and then maybe switch things up later and run 8 single CPU machines. Some more restrictions during the free trial are that you can't attach any GPUs to your machines, nor any TPUs for boosting TensorFlow performance, and you're not allowed to ask for any quota increases while you're on the free trial. Another thing Google calls out is that you are not allowed to do any crypto mining. They're giving you $300 of credit so that you can learn the platform, not so that you can try and exchange it for some other currency. Also, although you're welcome to run whatever you want on it, they don't recommend that you run production environments, and they don't give you any service level agreements that you can rely on. During the free trial, you also can't use any premium OS licenses or Cloud Launcher products with extra usage fees. The next component to a free tier GCP account, though, is the Always Free. Always Free is a certain amount of different services that you can use without having to pay for it. And it's kind of nice that Always Free usage doesn't even count against your free trial credits. So that means your $300 will last even longer. Also, as you might guess from its name, this lasts beyond the end of the free trial period, which is really nice. Now, the Google documentation has a lot more detail about the specific limits for each service, but I'm going to go through just a few highlights here. But don't worry at all about trying to remember all of these limits. You will not need to know them for your exam, and you can always just look up whatever the current amount is whenever you want to try out a new service. From the compute side of things, each day you can run 24 hours worth of an F1 micro instance in most US regions, and you won't get charged for it. Of course, if you're running multiple of these all day long, you will get charged for the additional ones, but you could, for example, run 8 of them for a couple of hours and still not get charged. Now, I'd like to point out that this has nothing to do with where you yourself are located, only where you choose to run the instances. Also in the Always Free Compute category, we have App Engine, where your app can run for 28 hours each day in North America without getting charged. Of course, this means it can still be free even if App Engine has some part of the day where it's running more than one instance for you. You can also run 2 million cloud functions every month with it still being free, within certain runtime and size limits. In the storage category, it's important to realize that the storage is averaged entirely over the month. So for example, storing a terabyte of data and then deleting it within a minute isn't going to cost a lot at all. Okay, so in the Always Free tier, you can store 5 gigabytes of regional cloud storage, 1 gigabyte of data in Cloud Data Store, and 10 gigabytes of data in BigQuery. And for BigQuery, every month you can do 1 terabyte's worth of query processing in the free tier. More free storage includes 30 gigabytes of hard drive storage on Google Compute Engine and App Engine, 5 gigs of snapshot storage on those, and 5 gigs of Stackdriver logs with a 7-day retention period. Moving on to networking, I should point out that if your data is headed to China or Australia, that doesn't qualify for the Always Free tier, but could be applied to the free trial credit you've got. Anyway, aside from those two, you can have 1 gigabyte each month of data that leaves your App Engine project for free. Similarly for Compute Engine, 1 gig per month. Google Cloud Functions are even more generous, giving you 5 gigs of data that can exit them each month, and also 5 gigs of data that can leave cloud storage that's based in North America. Now, Cloud PubSub is a kind of interesting one. Here you can have 10 gigs of data that goes through it each month for free. And because Cloud PubSub is a global messaging system, you could potentially be writing data to it from one region in the world and reading from it from another. All right, finally, let's just take a quick look at some of the extra things that are in the always free tier. Every day you can do 120 minutes worth of builds in Google Cloud Container Builder. You can do 60 minutes of voice recognition each month in Google Cloud Speech API. You can run 1,000 units per month through the Vision API, and 5,000 units per month through the Natural Language API. Google also has a Cloud Shell built into the console that we'll be using a lot through this course, and in there you can store 5 gigs of data persistently. You can also do a little bit of private hosting in Google Cloud source repositories. Well, all right, if you have any questions for me, please let me know. If not, please feel free to move on to the next lecture, where we're actually going to create your Google Cloud Platform free trial account. Thank you.